From the shining domicile that is Pittsburgh Comics, my old mannered comic shop owner, Colin McMahon, transforms into the world's greatest comic book talking TV host. Join us true believers for Comics Now!
Hey everybody, welcome to Comics Now for February 2024. Welcome to winter! We're finally getting snow and cold, but we have a lot of neat stuff going on at the store this month. Comics Pro is it's an international organization of comic book retailers. And every year in February they get together for an annual meeting, and last year they came to Pittsburgh. Well, they're coming back again this year. So that's exciting for me. I get to sleep in my own bed before having to go to these meetings. And the neat thing for me is I get to have people that I've known for years are going to be able to come by and see my store. So that's super neat. Now there's one added benefit this year, is that there are some creators that are coming to the meeting to talk to us about their books and kind of try to promote themselves. And two of them have asked if they could do a signing at the store right after the meeting. So we're having two people coming, which is really exciting. I haven't had a signing in a long time. So what we have, it's Ed Brisson is going to be here because he's promoting his new book, The Displaced, that I'll talk about a little bit later. He's done a lot of stuff, a lot of books. Some other things he's done, he did the recent Alpha Flight miniseries from Marvel. He did Sins of the Salton Sea from AWA, and he did the current Predator book. He also has done Ghost Rider at Marvel. Did Beyond the Breach at Aftershock and a whole lot more. So he's going to be here promoting his new book. And along with him is someone that I've known for quite a while, probably at least 10 years, is Matthew Rosenberg. I read his first book, We Can Never Go Home. Thought it was great, reached out to him, was talking to him via email, Twitter, and then ran into him at the Baltimore Comic-Con. And then he's been at a couple Comics Pro meetings where I've been able to introduce him to the group. So he's coming along with them. Now, like I said, he's done We Can Never Go Home. A big book of his was 4 Kids Walk Into a Bank. His current book right now is What's the Furthest Place from Here? But he's done a bunch of Marvel stuff. He's done Uncanny X-Men, Astonishing X-Men, Punisher. He's also done Star Wars. He did Iron Man. He's also done Archie and Edge of Venomverse. So he's done a lot of stuff. So now they're going to be here on Saturday, 24th. The only caveat is they're only going to be here from 4 to 5. The meeting ends at 2. They're going to come here after the meeting, and then they got to get to the airport to catch a flight. So it's going to be a short time, but hopefully it'll be really good. Both two really prolific writers going to be here. So if you have a chance, please stop by. Check out his new book. If you have anything that you want signed by either of them, they'll be happy to do it. So that's something I haven't had an actual real signing here in a long time. It's a lot of work organizing, and most of them just kind of fall into my lap like this one. So remember, Saturday, February 24th. A big book came out last week at the end of January that got me really excited for a creator. So February, I'm doing a spotlight on Geoff Johns. Now, Geoff Johns has been around for a long while. He started off with a huge run on The Flash. Then he went over to Green Lantern with Green Lantern Rebirth and revitalized Hal Jordan, leading into the Blackest Night storyline. He had Aquaman going at the same time, leading into New 52, going through that. Then he went to the movies, and he was helping out with the movies and probably the TV shows. And he came to a Comics Pro, well, he didn't come to it, we saw a video that he made for a Comics Pro meeting, talking about how much the movies helped him in talking with those people, because he had to summarize the essence of the character. You know, like they're doing the Supergirl TV show, and it's like, who is Supergirl? So he had to boil her down to just her essence, what makes her different. And he realized that they needed to do that for the comics, and that's what led to the Rebirth event at DC Comics, where he did the Rebirth one-shot, and that led into that whole thing, trying to get just back to telling good stories with the characters. So he did that, and he's been in and out doing all sorts of stuff. Right now he's currently writing the Justice Society of America book. But the other thing he has doing is he had a book at Image called Geiger, which is a post-apocalyptic future. He's a nuclear man. He has these special rods he puts on his back that dampen his powers and things. Really well received. People really like that. And then there was a spin-off book called Junkyard Joe about a Vietnam-era military robot that a survivor of Vietnam came back and he started writing a cartoon about him, and then didn't think he was real, thought he had just made him up until he showed up one day after he retired. So we're doing Junkyard Joe for the book club, which is going to be on Friday, March 1st. Can't do it the prior week because I'm going to be at the Comics Pro meeting. So we're doing it on Friday, March 1st at 7 o'clock. The reason I'm also focusing on Geoff Johns for the month is a new company called Ghost Machine, and they put out their first one-shot. And this is a bunch of his friends that he got together to do. It's kind of an imprint over at Image. They're all going to be working exclusive with Ghost Machine. And it's going to be Geoff Johns, Jason Fabok, Gary Frank, Brian Hitch, Lamont McGee, Francis Manapul, Brad Meltzer, Ivan Rice, and Peter Tomasi. And they're all going to be doing their own individual stories. Some of the books are going to be part of a bigger universe and tie together. Some are just going to be on their own. But they have their own imprint where they can do whatever they want. Last week they came out with a preview issue of this, a one-shot, which gave you a little taste of the different characters and an introduction to the characters. A lot of the pages also had like character information, so it tells you all about them. Really neat book, really good book, and made me really excited. I'm like, let's focus on this and see what they have coming. So lots of good stuff. The Geiger trade graphic novel is out. I have more on the way because people were really excited about that. And after reading this, they wanted to read that. So lots of good stuff going on. So yeah, like I said, we have a signing on February 24th, and we have book club, which is Junkyard Joe, on March 1st. So that's the neat stuff going on here at the store. Let's talk about what's coming from DC Comics in February. Coming from DC Comics, their big thing is running through issues of Batman. It's Joker Year One, and this is by Chip Zdarsky with Giuseppe Camuncoli on art. And they're telling the origin of the Joker. It's going to be starting in Batman 142. The tragic death of the leader of the Red Hood gang in a vat of chemicals has become the subject of myth. But what is the heartbreaking and gruesome tale of the monster who walked away from that violent birth? And how does it affect Batman's distant future? And this is going to be weekly in February. We also have a new one, Sinister Sons. This is by Peter Tomasi and David LaFuente. There's Bad to the Bone, Ready to Brawl, and the son of two of the deadliest villains in the galaxy. They're the Sinister Sons, and the DC Universe will never be the same. When the son of General Zod was cast off his adopted homeworld of New Kandor, Lord Zod runs afoul of a kid on a mission. Sinson is out to prove he's got what it takes to live up to the family name of Sinestro. But all is not as it seems, and the son's journey will take them into the heart of darkness in this sensational story. We also have Suicide Squad Kill Arkham Asylum. This is a prequel to the new video game that's out. Amanda Waller has taken control of the recently rebuilt Arkham Asylum, and her brutal tactics and merciless methods have led to the most secure asylum Gotham has ever known. But when the cell doors open and the inmates are left in a free-for-all deathmatch, Waller's intentions reveal themselves. Identify the strongest, smartest, and most brutal to serve on her Task Force X. We also have Red Hood the Hill. Welcome to the Hill, formerly one of Gotham's most dangerous suburbs, a place that required its residents to band together to keep themselves safe when the police and sometimes even Batman wouldn't. Now, as the Hill finds itself gentrifying, old habits die hard as the vigilante known only as Strike works with her team to keep the town safe, but she's not alone. Jason Todd, one of the Hill's newest residents, is more than happy to don the visage of Red Hood to help Strike keep his new home safe, but a new villain is emerging from the shadows. Will Red Hood, Strike, and the Hill's small militia of vigilantes be able to keep their home safe? We also have, this is a neat one, from Dan Jurgens and Mike Perkins. It's The Batman, First Night. Witness the earliest days of the Dark Knight. The year is 1939. The world is still reeling from horrors of the First World War, is on the brink of tipping into an even more gruesome conflict as fascism is on the march and gathering strength in America's darkest corners. Against this backdrop, a series of violent murders has begun in Gotham, and the recent emergence of the mysterious vigilante known as the Batman has the power brokers of the city living in fear of institutional collapse. All of the evidence in the murder investigation defies logic. The perpetrators are all men who died in the electric chair. But now the Batman comes face to face with one of these sickening anomalies, and he barely escapes with his life, throwing into question his ability to survive in a world that is brutally evolving around him. Now on to Marvel Comics. Coming now from Marvel Comics, starting off, Ultimate Black Panther. In the wake of Ultimate Invasion, Khonshu and Ra, the force known together as Moon Knight, are seeking to expand their brutal control of the continent of Africa. In response, the lone bulwark against them, the isolated nation of Wakanda, will send forth its champion, its king, the Black Panther. Now, Ultimate Spider-Man did huge, so I'm really hoping that this is going to do well. We also have a new What If series, What If Venom? Years ago, in a familiar church tower, the Venom symbiote was spurned by Peter Parker and found a willing host in the vengeful and wrathful Eddie Brock, or at least that's the story you know. This is an all-new look at what makes the most sinister symbiote tick, with a journey that reimagines its earliest days bonded to a host with rage and temper entirely different from those of Eddie Brock. Edge of Spider-Verse is back. They seem to be doing this every year. We all know who Weapon X is, but who is Weapon 8? In their universe, when Weapon X escapes from his facility, they call in their greatest previous success to get him back. We also have a new Night Thrasher book for all you 90s fans and New Warriors fans. The death of a loved one draws Dwayne Taylor back to New York City, though his days as Night Thrasher are long over. But Dwayne finds that his past is difficult to outrun when Silhouette, his ex-teammate from the New Warriors, seeks his help against a new criminal called the OG. And the mystery of the OG's true identity and what's to come will change Night Thrasher's legacy forever. We also have Spider-Punk is back. He was a big hit from the Into the Spider-Verse movies. In a world without Norman Osborn, Spider-Punk reigns. This ain't no victory lap, though, as Hobie Brown and team try to rebuild society. Justin Hammer, Dr. Otto Octavius have other plans, like introducing the world to spider-slaying sentinels. We also have a new Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver book. The Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver has been heroes, friends, family heads, and occasionally villains. But above all, they are twins who look out for each other. So when Wanda receives a letter from the recently deceased Magneto that would upset Pietro, she burns the letter before her brother can read it. But the choice drives them apart at the worst possible time. A new threat heralded by the Wizard, with a horrifying Eldritch upgrade, is coming for their heads, and if they can't find a way to repair their damaged bond, it will cost them their lives. We also have, this is a neat one, Wolverine Madripoor Knights #1. This is written by Chris Claremont. This goes back to Uncanny X-Men 268, a famous one with Cap, Wolverine, and Black Widow. Return to the island nation of Madripoor as X-Men legend Chris Claremont takes the helm of an all-new Wolverine tale, teaming Logan with his long-standing friends Captain America and the Black Widow. Picking up in the window of the all-time classic Uncanny X-Men 268, thrill to a brand new adventure. When a secret weapon brings Captain America to Madripoor, the trio team up that you've been waiting decades for will finally come to pass, as the mission brings Logan and Black Widow into a race against time, against a multitude of foes, including the Hand. In the regular Wolverine book, we're continuing on with the Sabretooth War. I think that's going all the way up to issue 50. Over in the Amazing Spider-Man, Gang War is continuing with all the different tie-ins. There's a Women of Marvel special celebrating the mighty Women of Marvel. Giant Size is continuing. It's the 50th anniversary of the Giant Size books, and so now we get a Giant Size Fantastic Four this month. Namor is imprisoned, serving out a sentence as the disgraced king of Atlantis. So when a new, yet ancient threat arises from the sea, who better to leap into the fray than Marvel's first family, the Fantastic Four? We also have a Guardians of the Galaxy annual, which is wrapping up the current series. Groot has been on a journey for the past year, and all of the growth and loss and heartache have been for this moment. Can the Guardians confront their past to ensure their family has a future? Grootfall comes to its triumphant conclusion. Now, we have some facsimile editions, too. We have Amazing Spider-Man 253, which is the first appearance of the Rose, which ties into Gang War. We have Uncanny X-Men 268, so if you didn't know what I was talking about, now you got a chance to get it. And we also have Secret Wars #2. It looks like they're going to be reprinting all of the Secret Wars issues to tie in with the new miniseries. So, we also have a new Predator #1. And this is fun because this is written by Ed Brisson. Yay! The hunt continues. For years, Theta has hunted and killed predators in her search for the one that killed her parents. Now she's on a mission to free the human captives from the predator's game preserve. But when a super predator is on the loose, even a seasoned hunter like Theta can become prey. There's a new Alien book, Black, White, and Blood, which is kind of an anthology book with people telling stories, but it's only black, white, and red ink. And then there's a new Star Wars book, Mace Windu. Even in the years before the Clone Wars, Mace Windu was known for his discipline, determination, and combat skills. When a scientist's discovery threatens the balance of the galaxy, Mace is led down a treacherous path of mystery and action. Introducing Azita Cruz, a pirate with a deadly secret, who the Hutts and the Republic will stop at nothing to control. So now on to the other guys. Next up is Image Comics, starting off Cabinet number 1. In this vibrant, tongue-in-cheek adventure series, atypical teen Avani and Midwestern jock Trent teleport across a post-Cold War landscape to summon the arcane powers of a resplendent 17th century cabinet to fix a teeny-tiny mistake the last time Avani used it, unleashing an ancient evil for its prison and accidentally slaughtering her parents. We also have Infernals number 1. Abraham Abe Morgenstern is the son of Satan, has 1 month to live. Before he dies, he must decide which of his 3 wayward children, volatile narcissist Nero, conflicted field operative Jackal, or troubled squirrel girl B, will inherit his shadowy empire. But will Abe ever be able to truly cede control of the apocalypse? Or does the Antichrist have something else up his sleeve? We also have a new Creepshow one-shot, Wolverton Station. This is written by Joe Hill, the son of Stephen King, who did Lock and Key. We have Dutch number 1. The legendary 90s super soldier returns for an all-new adventure. An enemy from his past has forced Dutch back into the belly of the beast, but will his former teammates welcome him back? We also have a neat companion series. First up is One Hand. This is written by Ram V. Neo-Novena detective Ari Nasser is about to retire with an enviable record until a brutal murder occurs, bearing all the hallmarks of the one-hand killer, which should be impossible since Ari already sent him away not once but twice in the years before. What follows is a deadly cat-and-mouse game as Ari pursues his quarry down the rain-soaked streets of Neo-Novena. Ari will stop at nothing to unravel the secrets and ciphers of this case, but each revelation only leads further into the dark heart of his future. Then there's another book called Six Fingers, and this is by Dan Waters. Neo-Novena archaeology student Johann Vale has always been so very in control of his life. But when he commits a brutal murder using the MO of a historic and notorious serial killer, everything begins to spiral out of control, primarily as he doesn't remember doing it. We also have, I normally don't talk about graphic novels, but this one is, I'm looking forward to. It's Times Squared. It's an omnibus hardcover. Graphically experimental, narratively daring, and visually explosive, Howard Chaykin's Times Squared was a work ahead of its time. Now, to commemorate its return more than 35 years later with its long-awaited conclusion, it still is. Now up from Boom Studios. Here we go. The Displaced number 1 by Ed Brisson. We're having a signing for this book. The city of Oshawa, Ontario has vanished without a trace. Even worse, nobody remembers it or the 170,000 missing residents that disappeared along with it. As the survivors also fall into the forgotten, they must seek each other out if they hope to have any chance of surviving in a world where no one believes they exist. We also have a new Mighty Morphin Power Rangers book, The Return. Fun part, this is written by Amy Jo Johnson, who was the original Pink Ranger. So, keeping it in the family. Now from Dynamite, this book is supposed to be huge. I think they said they printed 170,000 copies of it. But it's Thundercats number 1. This is written by Declan Shalvey with art by Drew Moss. Fleeing through space to escape their dying homeworld, the Thundercats were attacked en route by their mortal enemies, the mutants of Plundar. After diverting their damaged flagship to a planet called Third Earth, the surviving Thundercats now strive to rebuild their society in harmony with the new world's natives. But the mutants determined to possess the Thundercats' mystical gem, the Eye of Thundera, have tracked them down, and they've also forced an alliance with Mum-Ra, the devil priest of Third Earth. Vampirella is continuing, but they're changing the number. They added them all up, and there have been 666 Vampirellas, so they're renumbering at 666 to start the next run. We also have Fire and Ice is getting a Tiga one-shot. Sweet Candy Vigilante is back with a new series, and there's a new Elvira book, Elvira Meets H.P. Lovecraft. So if you like the spooky, there you go. Next up is Titan, and Titan has the license for Conan the Barbarian, so we're getting another new Conan book. We're getting Savage Sword of Conan, number 1. Promised riches beyond imagining, Conan finds himself bound for war at the head of an exiled Hyrcanian prince's army. But when ancient monsters are unleashed and the prince's recklessness imperils all, Conan will be forced to choose, abandon wealth for safety, or face danger head-on to prevent innocent blood from drenching the desert sands. Massive is doing a continuation of John Carpenter's The Fog movie in a comic book, so it's 30 years later, and the story continues. Dark Horse has some interesting ones. First one's by Ram V, called Dawn Runner. A century ago, a portal opened over Central America, and the Tetsa that came through changed our world. Now the world bends all its efforts to making the Iron King great mechs that must battle the Tetsa for humanity's continued survival in gladiator combat. We also have Ghostbusters is back as a comic, back in town. This is by Greg Pak. A year and a half after the events of Ghostbusters Afterlife, the Ghostbusters are officially back in business and headed where it all began, New York City. Also back is The Goon, Them That Don't Stay Dead by Eric Powell. To mark the 25th anniversary of The Goon, Eric Powell returns with an all-new miniseries. The return to Lonely Street hasn't been easy for The Goon and Frankie. It's just as they've finally got the various gangs of bloodsuckers and night stalkers back in line, and they can finally relax with a nice night out bowling. A new threat appears. We also have this one a lot of people are excited about. It's a new Tom King and Bilquis Evely book. They did the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow that is going to be made into a movie, and they're back working together on a book called Helen of Windhorn. The Gothic sword and sorcery epic that's Conan the Barbarian meets Wizard of Oz. Following the tragic death of her late father, C.K. Cole, the esteemed pulp writer and creator of the popular warrior character Othan, Helen Cole is called back to her grandfather's enormous and illustrious estate, Windhorn House. Scarred by Cole's untimely passing and lost in a strange new world, Helen wreaks drunken havoc upon her arrival. However, her chaotic ways begin to soften as she discovers a lifetime of secrets hiding within the myriad rooms and hallways of the expansive manor. For outside its walls, within the woods, dwell the legendary adventures that once were locked away in her father's stories. We also have a new John Carpenter Toxic Commando Rise of the Sludge God. So if you're a Toxic Commando fan, here you go. IDW has some Turtle stuff coming. We have a follow-up to The Last Ronin. It's The Last Ronin 2 Re-Evolution. More than a decade after the last Ronin defeated the Foot Clan, New York City finds itself in a state of steady decline. Now the disparate gangs vie for economic and political control, and that chaos is taking its toll. It's clear to Casey Marie that if something isn't done soon, the city she knows and loves will be lost forever. So whether they are ready or not, she and her young pupils must raise a new coalition and lead the charge to keep the peace. There's also a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle source book to fill you in about everything that's all things turtle. And we also have an Untold Destiny of the Foot Clan miniseries. Another new one, Golgotha Motor Mountain. When a derelict chunk of a passing interstellar rock rains down on Elwood and Vernon Damnage's meth lab in Golgotha Knob, Kentucky, their lives are turned into a redneck body horror nightmare. Valiant is back. I know it's hard to believe. They were gone for a good while, but they are back, and one of their first ones is a very Valentine's special. Love is in the air. Join us as we explore love Valiant style. In this saucy 50-page anthology, we feature 4 tales of lost love with Dr. Mirage, family love with Bloodshot, young love on the rocks with Faith and Archer, and lastly, the many loves of Ninjak. We know our heroes save the day, but can they save their hearts as well? American Mythology is doing a comic book follow-up to My Bloody Valentine, appropriate for February. Archie is giving us a Jaguar one-shot, and they also have an Archie's Valentine Spectacular. AWA has a new one. It's continuing on J. Michael Straczynski's Resistance storyline. It's called You and I. The next chapter in the saga of the Resistance universe focuses on an unlikely love story. The mysterious You has no memory of his past before awakening with powers after the Great Death that took many lives and created the superpowered reborns. His vision of the world is one that is more beautiful and full of hope than the rest of us can see. In searching for a purpose, a reason to live, he discovers Isabel, whose father died in the plague and who has recently been thrown out to live on the streets by her uncle. When the two meet, a spark is lit between them. Oni brings us one called Cemetery Kids Don't Die. Introducing Dreamwave, the first gaming console played entirely while you sleep. It's also the one point of solace for 4 friends known as the Cemetery Kids, who spend their nights roaming the open world of the most immersive and brutal horror game ever created, Nightmare Cemetery. Together, they seek to dethrone the enigmatic humanoid monster known only as the King of Sleep. But when one of them doesn't wake up, instead finds their consciousness locked inside the game, the 3 remaining cemetery kids must navigate a forbidden landscape to rescue their friend and pray that the secret lurking in its center doesn't follow them home. Vault is back with a new barbaric series called Born in Blood. So that's all the new stuff coming in February. Normally February is kind of light, but this is looks to be shaping up to be a good month. So don't forget, we have a signing with Ed Brisson and Matthew Rosenberg on Saturday, February 24th from 4 to 5. We're doing book club, which is going to be Junkyard Joe, on Friday, March 1st. And we're doing all month long, we're going to be showcasing Jeff Johns' graphic novels. And so that's what we have going on. If you have any questions, the website's pittsburghcomics.com. Facebook is Pittsburgh Comics. Twitter and Instagram are PGH Comics. So thanks for watching. And stay tuned for Comic Previews Theater. See ya.
Brian Welford, age 58, 2 priors of public urination, and aggressive panhandling.
Please, just leave me alone. I can't go back. I can't.
Yeah? Well, tough. Nobody wants you here, so best put you where no one sees. Ah! No!
Please, don't hurt.
It's okay. It's all going to be okay now. Avengers, we're on the scene, rescuing people trapped by the fire. We'll bring updates on the region, and...
That ain't Cap.
Oh, here we go again.
It ain't.
Original retired. Let it go, Rhonda.
He didn't. I'm telling you, I have been hearing things. Cap's back. Stop the cops from rottening up old Brian. Saved some girl who was being harassed down at the docks. Oh yeah? Then why ain't the news reporting it? Ain't no news anymore, man!
So, you think this is a play?
I do. The government has complete control over what everyone sees. That means there are almost zero live events that can be disrupted, and sporting events are far too secure in their arenas and parks. So New Year's Eve in Times Square is a perfect opportunity.
The remote news stations will be on site. I've been working on a device that will override that broadcast whatever we want.
We've made a video with essentially the greatest hits of the Atro cities they've been polling.
I have to admit, I'm used to winning wars on the battlefield.
The battlefield of the minds of Americans, Cap. The government and corporations have been feeding them lies for so long that nobody sees what we've seen. People being displaced, arrested for minor infractions. Nobody is allowed to record anything. Nobody is allowed to step out of line. We've been running our private radio shows, but not enough people even know about them to hear what we're saying.
This is our big chance. There's an illusion of freedom, Steve, and we need to shatter it.